Hello there, and welcome. Take a slow breath. Let the rhythm of your chest rise and fall like the tides of an unseen ocean. Tonight, we begin not with facts, but with a feeling, the gentle awareness that above you, there is a ceiling made not of walls or roof, but of infinity itself. The night sky has always been a mirror for our thoughts. Every culture, every traveler, every dreamer has looked up and seen something slightly different: patterns of animals, paths of gods, trails of ancestors. Yet beneath those stories, the same quiet wonder remains. That we are here, looking out from a small blue world into a darkness alive with light. In this calm journey, you won't need to keep your eyes open. You can simply listen and imagine. Picture yourself lying somewhere far from cities, perhaps on soft grass, perhaps on warm sand, where the air cools slowly after sunset. The horizon fades, and one by one, stars awaken, like candles lit across a silent plain. Each one you see is part of our own galactic home, the Milky Way. It's easy to forget that when we gaze upward, we are not seeing an alien sky. We are looking into our own vast neighborhood. And yet, what a neighborhood it is, stretching 100,000 light years across, filled with hundreds of billions of suns. As your eyes adjust in this imagined darkness, let curiosity replace thought. Notice how still everything feels, and yet how alive it is. Space seems empty, but it hums with energy. The stars are distant, but their light has traveled across unimaginable time to reach you tonight. Tiny messengers from ages long gone. The purpose of this story is not to overwhelm, but to soothe. Science can be gentle, and wonder can be restful. So, we will move slowly through galaxies and comets, through moonlight and auroras, each idea like a breath, each fact like a calm wave rolling toward the shore of your mind. If you feel your thoughts wandering, that's perfect. The stars don't rush, and neither should you. Their light moves steadily, patient, and forgiving. You can let go of the day's weight and drift alongside them, floating in a sea of quiet motion. Above you, the sky stretches wider than thought. And within that immensity, every glimmer has a story, some born millions of years ago, some ending even as you begin to notice them. Tonight, we'll begin to unfold those stories, gently, one by one. Let the darkness cradle you now. The journey is beginning. When you gaze up into the darkness, it can feel infinite, as if the stars stretch forever, spilling into an endless sea. Yet, every one of those twinkling lights you can see with your unaided eyes belongs to a single family, our own Milky Way galaxy. Imagine standing on a quiet hill, far from city lights. As your eyes adjust, the sky begins to bloom. Thousands of pinpoints appear, scattered across the heavens like seeds in a silent field. Astronomers estimate that, under the best conditions, the human eye can see about 6,000 stars. 6,000, a number that feels vast, yet represents only the tiniest fraction of the Milky Way's population. Because in truth, our galaxy is a luminous city of hundreds of billions of suns. Each one burns with its own temperature, size, and story. Most are too faint, too distant, or too veiled in dust to ever reach our sight. What we see is just the nearby glow spilling out from our cosmic neighborhood. The stars seem scattered randomly, but they are bound together in a great spiral arms of light swirling through a dark sea. We are inside that spiral, looking outward, much like someone standing in a quiet alley of a glowing city, seeing only the lanterns nearby, while the grand avenues beyond remain hidden. Each star you see tonight is a neighbor, though separated by unimaginable distance. The closest, Proxima Centauri, lies more than 4 light-years away, meaning its light left before this year's seasons began. Others shine from hundreds or even thousands of light-years across the galaxy. Yet, they all belong to the same vast family, circling a common center like dancers in an endless, patient waltz. When you stand beneath this view, you're not looking outward into other universes. You're standing within the Milky Way's Great Hall. The familiar constellations, Orion, the Big Dipper, Scorpius, are simply patterns drawn across the nearby lights of our own galactic town. Beyond them, faint smudges like Andromeda or the Magellanic Clouds hint at distant galaxies. But those are too far for the eye to separate into individual stars. So what you see, these few thousand points of light, are companions of our home. Each one a sun, each with the possibility of worlds. The galaxy feels infinite. What your eyes take in tonight is a personal glimpse, an intimate corner of something immeasurable. Let that thought rest with you. The night sky you see is not foreign. It is home. The Milky Way is our address in the universe, vast, spiraling, full of stories, and you are looking through its living window. Breathe softly and hold that image in your mind of being surrounded, not by emptiness, but by family. Stars glowing like warm lanterns across an endless, dark sea. When you lift your eyes to the stars, you are not seeing the present. You are looking into the past. Every shimmer above you is a messenger, carrying news from long ago. Light moves incredibly fast, about 300,000 kilometers every second. But the universe is so vast that even at that unimaginable speed, it takes time for the glow of a distant star to reach your eyes. The nearest ones send you light only a few years old. Others, centuries, and some, thousands or even tens of thousands of years. That means when you look at the sky tonight, you are peering into a living archive, a memory written in photons, still traveling through space. It is a strange and beautiful thought. Some of the stars you see may no longer exist. Their final explosions could have happened long before the first human carved a tool, or before rivers shaped the valleys we walk through today. Yet their light, faithful and unhurried, continues to arrive, like the echo of a song still drifting long after the singer has gone. You can imagine the night sky as a museum of light. Each star, a lantern, frozen in time. Each beam, a story delayed by distance. The further you look, a bright blue star, 100 light-years away, shows you how it looked a century ago. One 1,000 light-years distant sends you a portrait from an age before written words, and a faint glow from the edge of our galaxy might carry memories older than civilization itself. So, as you lie under the quiet canopy of night, you are surrounded not by the present moment, but by layers of history, luminous threads woven through darkness. The stars shimmer not just because of our atmosphere, but because their light itself trembles through time, bending, scattering, aging on its journey to you. There's something profoundly comforting in that. It means that nothing truly vanishes in an instant. Every spark, every warmth, every act of light leaves an imprint that continues to move forward. Even after the star has burned away, its message of existence keeps traveling soft, steady, eternal, and in return, we too send our own faint light outward. Every campfire, every city, every heartbeat, powered by the sun, becomes a flicker that joins the background glow of this galaxy. The Earth shines, faint but real, into the cosmos, a small reflection in the Milky Way's quiet mirror. So tonight, as you watch a star twinkle, think of it not just as something far away, but as a moment, a memory of a world that once was. It is time, stretched out before you, shimmering across billions of years. Let that realization be gentle, not heavy. You are part of this great exchange of light and memory, your eyes, your breath, your wonder, completing the journey that began eons ago in the heart of a distant Sunday. In the silence between heartbeats, you can almost feel it, the slow, endless conversation between what was and what is. A quiet reminder that nothing luminous is ever truly gone. For travelers of the northern world, one light has long been trusted above all others: Polaris, the North Star. It hangs, seemingly still, above the northern horizon, calm, unwavering, the silent compass of the night sky. For centuries, sailors, wanderers, and dreamers have lifted their gaze to find it, using its steadiness to know their direction when all else was uncertain. Yet even Polaris, faithful as it seems, is not eternal. The Earth itself moves not only around the sun, but also in a slow, graceful wobble. This motion, called precession, is the gentle turning of our planet's axis, tracing a slow circle in the sky that takes about 26,000 years to complete. Imagine holding a spinning top and watching how its tip slowly draws a circle as it wobbles. Earth does the same, so that the point in the sky our axis points to the North Star drifts gradually over time. Thousands of years ago, Polaris was not our pole star. In the time of the ancient Egyptians, another star, Tuban, in the constellation Draco, held that sacred position. When they built the Great Pyramid, its inner shaft was aligned toward Thuban, their guide in the dark. And far into the future, in about 12,000 years, the brilliant blue-white star Vega will take its turn, lighting the northern crown of the sky. This slow celestial dance changes so slowly that no single lifetime can notice it. Night after night, Polaris remains faithful, keeping its place above the horizon. To the ancient eye, it must have seemed eternal, a fixed lantern hung in the heavens while everything else wheeled and turned. But the truth adds a quiet beauty. Even constancy is motion slowed to the gentlest pace. When you find Polaris on a clear night, perhaps by tracing the pointer stars of the Big Dipper, take a moment to feel that connection through time. The same light you see guided travelers across frozen seas, guided desert caravans beneath silent dunes, and will one day guide explorers yet unborn. The night sky is a living map, always shifting, yet bound together by patterns of patience. The constellations move slowly, the poles drift, but the rhythm is graceful, too vast for hurry, too steady for chaos. Think of it this way. While our lives unfold in heartbeats and hours, the Earth marks its time in millennia. Each star's change is like the movement of a mountain, invisible up close, certain when seen through ages. And perhaps that is why watching the stars feels so calming. Their pace resets ours. Their motion is so gentle, so enduring, that our worries, sharp, bright, and fast, seem to slow in their presence. So, as you picture Polaris tonight, steady above the darkened world, let it stand for more than direction. Let it remind you of the quiet stability within motion, the calm center around which life, and the Earth itself, turns. The sky above you is not fixed, but it is faithful. And sometimes, faithfulness is all we need to find our way home. Long before compasses, before satellites whispered directions from orbit, humans found their way using only the sky. They didn't just see stars as decoration, they saw them as companions, teachers, and guides. The night above was the first map, drawn not on parchment, but in light. Imagine an ocean without borders, no signs, no lights. Only the sound of waves and the rhythm of breath. For thousands of years, sailors crossed those waters guided by constellations. In the Pacific, Polynesian navigators memorized the rise and fall of hundreds of stars, knowing exactly where each would appear on the horizon. They carried the sky inside them, not as charts, but as songs and stories passed down through generations. When a certain star rose in the east, they knew which island lay ahead. When another dipped below the western sea, they knew how far they had come. Each constellation was a compass point, each cluster of light, a landmark floating in time. Across the deserts of Africa and Arabia, nomadic peoples looked upward too, beneath endless stretches of sand, where the world itself seemed to repeat in all directions. The stars offered certainty. The North Star shone as a still beacon above the horizon, its position never wavering. Caravans would travel by its glow, resting when it sank too low or vanished into dawn. And in the southern hemisphere, the same was true, only the pattern changed. Navigators there used the Southern Cross, a compact diamond of stars pointing toward the celestial South Pole. Beneath that sign, explorers, traders, and storytellers found their bearings, tracing invisible lines through the night. Everywhere, humanity looked upward and found meaning. In Greece, Orion was the great hunter, forever chasing the Pleiades. In China, the stars mapped the emperor's heavenly court. Among the Maori, the Milky Way was Te Ikaroa, the long fish that spanned the heavens. Every culture wove its geography into the sky, turning direction into myth. These stories were not superstition, they were survival. They ensured that knowledge of the stars was remembered wrapped in tales so that no child could forget them. A people could cross entire oceans by memory alone, guided by constellations learned in childhood songs. There's something deeply human in that this union of science and story, of navigation and wonder. The same impulse that built telescopes once sang lullabies to the stars, and as you listen now, you can still feel it, that ancient connection. The pulse of waves beneath an open sky, the slow turn of constellations, dependable as breathing. Every light above you once helped someone find their way across seas, across deserts, across the unknown. The night sky is a record of those journeys, a shared inheritance written not in ink, but in light and rhythm. So, when you see Orion rise, or trace the shape of the Big Dipper, remember, these are not just patterns. They are directions left by those who came before, gentle signs pointing home. And like them, all you need to do is look upward, breathe slowly, and trust that the universe itself has never lost its way. Now that your mind has wandered far enough to feel the rhythm of the night, lift your gaze higher past the constellations and the bright lanterns of familiar stars, until you notice a soft, milky band stretching from one horizon to the other. It looks like mist, or perhaps a trail of moonlit smoke. But that faint shimmer, that pale ribbon glowing across the sky, is not a cloud at all. It is our home, the Milky Way galaxy. Seen from within, imagine standing inside a vast, glowing disk made of hundreds of billions of suns. From the inside, you cannot see the shape, you can only look through its thin edge, where the stars are densest. That is what you see on dark nights, the cross-section of our own galactic plane, a glowing current of light flowing endlessly across space. Ancient peoples often imagined it as a river. The Greeks called it Galaxias Kyklos, the Milky Circle, born from mythic milk spilled across the heavens. In China, it was the Silver River, separating lovers who could meet only once a year as stars Vega and Altair. In Africa, storytellers spoke of it as a pathway of spirits, leading those who left this world to the next. And in many cultures, it was a bridge between land and sky, between life and eternity. Even today, when you find yourself far from the reach of city lights, perhaps on a mountain plateau, or deep in the countryside, you can feel what they must have felt. The Milky Way arches overhead like a celestial spine, connecting all directions, as though the universe itself were gently exhaling. Under that glow, time seems to loosen its hold. You can almost hear the whisper of starlight, like the distant flow of a slow-moving river. The pale light you see is the blended glow of countless suns, too faint to distinguish a tide of radiance softened by distance and dust. Between those stars drifts dark interstellar clouds, great rivers of carbon and ice grains, weaving shadows through the light. Telescopes reveal their shapes, towers, filaments, tendrils sculpted by gravity and winds from newborn stars. But to the naked eye, they appear as delicate dark lanes, like ripples across the Milky Way's surface. What you see tonight is both ancient and intimate. That faint glow is the light of your galactic neighbors, their combined energy filtering through thousands of years of space and time to find your eyes. It's as if the entire galaxy were leaning close to whisper, "You are part of this too." Has of lined Sider's face. To see the Milky Way clearly is to feel small, yes, but also deeply connected. You are not outside looking in, you are inside looking across. Every point of light belongs to the same spiral you inhabit. If you could rise above it, if you could drift beyond the thin blue halo of Earth and far into the darkness, you would see our galaxy from the outside. A great, rotating pinwheel of starlight and dust, curved arms unfurling through space like petals made of fire. And somewhere in one of those arms, just a tiny spark among billions, shines our sun, a single golden note in the galaxy's quiet symphony. So tonight, as you rest, imagine that gentle river above you, flowing not with water, but with light. Let it carry your thoughts downstream, softly, slowly, and as your breathing steadies, remember that you are not separate from it. You are part of the current. The Milky Way is not just something you see. It is the home that sees you back. Even on the clearest, darkest night, your eyes capture only a whisper of what's truly there. The Milky Way, you see that soft river of starlight, is but the faintest glow from the nearest suns, like the lights of a nearby village seen through fog. Beyond them, hidden in the deep, are countless others. Our eyes are remarkable, but they are also limited. They evolved for sunlight, not starlight. Even under perfect darkness, we glimpse only about 6,000 stars, less than 1 grain of sand, compared to the true shore of the galaxy. If you could remove the darkness, if you could see every star, the night sky would not be black at all. It would be luminous, overflowing a vast, shimmering ocean of light. But interstellar dust and the limits of human sight hide most of it, veiling the cosmos in mystery. Astronomers use other-eyes telescopes tuned to radio waves, infrared light, ultraviolet, and even X-rays to pierce that veil. Through them, we see that the galaxy is alive with hidden energy. Clouds of hydrogen stretch across thousands of light years. Young stars flicker in crimson nebulae. Dense clusters glitter like spilled jewels. In every direction, the universe glows with quiet activity. And yet, there is still more that even those machines cannot see. Most of our galaxy's matter is invisible, a vast web of dark matter, unseen but gravitationally strong, holding the Milky Way together like a hidden skeleton. Around it flows dark energy, the quiet force pushing space itself to expand faster and faster. It's humbling to realize the light we see, all the stars, all the galaxies, all the glowing dust makes up less than 5% of the universe. The rest hides beyond sight, beyond touch, beyond imagination. And yet, even in its invisibility, it shapes everything we know. If that feels mysterious, let it. There's comfort in knowing that not everything must be seen to be real. Like the deep roots of a forest, the unseen gives strength to what blooms above. You might imagine the night sky as a vast forest of light. The bright stars are like lanterns hanging from the branches, but the true life of the forest lies in its unseen soil, in the quiet, patient darkness that nurtures everything. So, when you look up and see the Milky Way's faint band, think of all that's hidden behind it. Stars too small to shine brightly, suns too distant to reach your eyes, worlds circling those suns, perhaps with their own oceans, winds, and dreams. Every star you cannot see still burns, still exists, still contributes to the soft glow above you. You are surrounded by a galaxy of whispers, a chorus of light too subtle for your eyes but not for your soul. And in that vast, invisible web, you have a place too, a single mind, aware of the beauty that so much of the universe must take on faith alone. Close your eyes now and picture the darkness not as emptiness, but as fullness, alive, shimmering, infinite. The universe hides its wonders softly, so that we may learn to listen with more than sight. There was a time when the Milky Way was familiar to everyone. Farmers saw it when they ended their work under open fields. Sailors followed it through night seas. Children grew up beneath it, learning its patterns the way they now learn city lights. But tonight, in most places on Earth, that glowing river is gone, drowned in a haze of human light. Street lamps, billboards, windows, and cars fill the night with their constant glow. The darkness that once revealed the stars now hides them. And so, the sky that once felt infinite has grown small, pale. This quiet loss has a name: light pollution. It isn't a poison you can taste or touch, but it changes how we see and how we dream. In big cities, only a few bright stars remain visible. To many children, the Milky Way is something they have never seen, a myth, like dragons or spirits. And yet, the remedy is beautifully simple. Turn off a few lights. Shield the ones that remain, so they shine downward, not upward. Allow the night to return to itself. When communities create dark sky reserves, the stars come back, not after years, but within days. The difference is immediate and breathtaking. Under a restored dark sky, your eyes need time to adjust. It happens slowly. First, a few bright points, then more, clustering at the edge of vision. And finally, the Milky Way appears, a pale river stretching across the night. The longer you watch, the more you see, not because the stars have changed, but because you have. In that moment, something inside you remembers. The sky becomes familiar again. It's as if the universe leans closer, whispering, "I was here all along." There's a kind of peace that returns with true darkness. You begin to hear the quiet sounds of night, a breeze through leaves, the distant call of an owl, the slow rhythm of your own breath. The mind, freed from screens and glare, begins to rest. Modern science shows that darkness isn't just poetic, it's necessary. Humans, like all living things, are tuned to the rhythm of day and night. Our bodies heal and regulate themselves in darkness. The hormone melatonin rises, guiding sleep, repairing cells, calming the nervous system. Artificial light disrupts that balance. So, protecting the night sky is not only for astronomers, it's for everyone who dreams, who sleeps, who breathes. It's for balance. It's for peace. If you ever find yourself in a dark sky place, maybe on a mountain or by the ocean, far from cities, take a moment to simply look up. The stars will seem impossibly bright, as if the universe has been waiting for your attention. You might even feel the strange sensation of depth, that you are looking not at a ceiling, but into forever. The stars have not gone anywhere. They only need the darkness to be seen, and sometimes, so do we. If you've lived your whole life in the northern world, you might think the constellations you know are universal, that Orion always strides across winter skies, that the Big Dipper forever points to Polaris. But travel far enough across the equator, and even the heavens begin to change. In the southern hemisphere, a new ceiling opens above you, familiar stars vanish, and new ones take their place. The Big Dipper sinks below the horizon, while strange clusters rise to take its place. It feels like stepping into a mirrored dream, the same night, but sung in a different language. And among the southern stars, one symbol stands out: the Southern Cross, or crux. It's small, just 5 bright stars forming a tilted kite, but to those who live beneath it, it is as powerful as Polaris is to the north. It points almost perfectly to the south celestial pole, the still heart around which the southern sky slowly turns. For travelers, that cross has long been a compass. Polynesian navigators, once again guided by memory, used it to sail across vast Pacific waters. Aboriginal peoples of Australia wove it into their dreamtime stories, seeing not a cross, but the footprint of an emu running through the sky. In South America, the Inca saw in it a llama, the animal that carried life through the Andes. Each culture looked up and found its own reflection in those 5 points of light. And near the Southern Cross, like ghostly islands adrift in the dark, lie 2 faint clouds of light, the Magellanic Clouds. To the naked eye, they look like patches of fog, but in truth, they are neighboring galaxies, small companions of our Milky Way, spinning through space alongside us. If you've never seen them, imagine 2 tiny glowing sails floating against the black sea of night. Their light began its journey over 100,000 years ago, before the first humans walked beneath them. The thought is humbling. The southern sky holds not just stars, but entire galaxies visible to the unaided eye. When travelers from the north first crossed the equator and saw this sky, they must have felt a kind of cosmic vertigo. Their guiding constellations were gone. The sky's center had shifted. Yet in that unfamiliar pattern, a new kind of beauty appeared. Proof that even the heavens change their face, depending on where you stand. The sky is a shared book, but no 2 readers see quite the same page. Each hemisphere offers its own story. New constellations, new myths, new directions. And when you travel between them, you realize that the stars do not belong to one part of the Earth belongs to all of them. It's a quiet reminder that perspective changes everything. What disappears from one sky rises in another. What's hidden from your view may shine brightly for someone far away. So when you think of the night sky, think of it not as yours, or mine, or anyone's, but as a single great dome, seen from different sides, each one adding its own poetry to the same infinite song. Under every horizon, above every heart, the universe is still the same. Only our view and our story shifts. with where we stand. On a clear, moonless night, if you look carefully toward the constellation Andromeda, you might notice something faint. A soft, hazy patch of light, so delicate you might mistake it for a smudge on your lens or a wisp of distant cloud. But it's not a cloud, it's a galaxy. The Andromeda Galaxy, also known as Messier 31, is the nearest great spiral galaxy to our own. What you see with your naked eyes, tiny pale blur, is the combined glow of over 1 trillion stars, 1 trillion suns, all woven together in a vast whirling disk, 2.5 million light-years away. When you see it, you're not just looking across space, you're looking across time. The light that reaches your eyes tonight began its journey before the first humans appeared on Earth. The moment that light left Andromeda, saber-toothed cats prowled ancient plains, and glaciers crept across continents. It has been traveling ever since, quietly, patiently, just to arrive here to you. Andromeda is immense. If your eyes could see its full size, it would appear 6 times wider than the full moon. But most of it is too faint. Its light spread thin across the dark, so we see only its heart, the bright core, where billions of stars gather like embers in a cosmic hearth. Through telescopes, its spiral arms unfold vast lanes of stardust and newborn suns stretching like brushstrokes across the void. And hidden within that swirl, countless planets circle their own suns, each with its own horizon, its own night sky, its own dreams. But what makes Andromeda even more extraordinary is its future and ours. Our 2 galaxies, Milky Way and Andromeda, are not drifting apart. They are moving toward each other, slowly but surely, drawn together by gravity's ancient pull. In about 4 billion years, they will meet not in a violent crash, but in a long, graceful merging. Stars will pass one another like ships in the night. Few will collide, but the shapes of both galaxies will twist and fold, spiraling into a single, larger galaxy, sometimes called Milkomeda. It sounds dramatic, but it will unfold over millions of years. The night sky then will bloom with motion, great streams of stars, rivers of light, arcs of cosmic fire drifting slowly across eternity. And our own sun, if still shining, will remain safely adrift in that new celestial sea. When you look at Andromeda now, you are seeing both history and destiny. You are seeing the past light from a time before our species began, and you are seeing the future, the slow, inevitable reunion of 2 great star cities. It's strange to think that galaxies, like people, are drawn together not by chance, but by the invisible gravity of shared belonging. The space between may be vast, but the pull is always there, quiet and certain. So, if you ever find yourself beneath a truly dark sky, find that faint patch of light. It's small. Yes, you might need patience for your eyes to catch it, but once you do, you are witnessing one of the greatest distances the human eye can cross unaided. You are seeing a neighbor, ancient, immense, and on its way home. And as its light meets yours, know this: in that brief shimmer, 2 galaxies, 2 homes touch across time. When you look up and trace the constellations Orion's belt, the curve of the Big Dipper, the delicate Pleiades, it's easy to imagine that they are eternal. We draw them in our maps, carve them into memory, and tell their stories as if they have always been the same. But the truth is softer, and somehow more beautiful. The constellations are not fixed. They are slowly, silently changing. Each star you see is moving not just across the sky as the Earth turns, but through space itself, drifting through the galaxy on its own path. The night sky is a great, 3-dimensional dance, and every performer has its own rhythm. To us, the stars seem motionless, because their movements unfold over unimaginable stretches of time. Even the fastest stars shift by only a fraction of a degree in a lifetime. But give them thousands of years, and the familiar shapes we know begin to bend, to stretch, to fade. If you could watch a time-lapse of the heavens over millions of years, the constellations would twist and drift like ink swirling in water. Orion's belt would unfasten. The Dipper would pour itself out. New patterns would take their place. This motion is called proper motion, the true drift of stars relative to the Sunday. Every star moves in its own direction and speed, and the constellations we know are just temporary alignments, like travelers passing on the road. From another star system, the same stars would form completely different figures. Even their brightness changes. Stars are born, burn, and eventually fade. Some swell into red giants, others collapse into white dwarfs. Over cosmic time, entire constellations will disappear, not because they move out of sight, but because their stars transform or die. For ancient people, the stars felt eternal because human life is so brief beside them. The same patterns guided farmers, explorers, and dreamers for thousands of years, and so they seemed everlasting. But now we know that they too are alive in motion, evolving, reshaping the sky as centuries flow. There's something deeply comforting in that idea. Change is universal. Even the stars, with all their grandeur, are not exempt from time's slow touch. But the change is gentle, too gradual for panic, too patient for fear. When you look up tonight, you're witnessing a living sky, not a frozen ceiling, but a slow-moving ocean of light. The constellations you know are like waves. They rise, crest, and fade. The sea itself remains. And perhaps that's what makes them so precious. We are here only for a moment in their long dance, a single heartbeat of cosmic rhythm. The shapes we name, the myths we tell, the stories we draw in stars, they are our way of participating in the universe's ever-changing art. So trace the lines with your eyes one more time. Orion's belt, the curve of the Dipper, the delicate Seven Sisters, and imagine how they will shift long after we are gone. Their patterns will evolve, just as we do, always in motion, always becoming. The stars remind us that beauty doesn't depend on permanence. It lives in the act of shining in this moment, in this now. At first glance, all stars may seem the same tiny white dots scattered across a velvet sky. But look closer, or through a telescope, and you'll discover that the stars are not white at all. They glow in every shade of the cosmic spectrum: red, gold, blue, even violet, each hue whispering its own story of heat, age, and energy. A star's color is the language of its temperature. The cooler ones, like Betelgeuse in Orion's shoulder, burn in deep, dusky orange-red. They are old suns, swollen and gentle. The middling ones, like our sun, glow a warm, golden white calm, balanced, radiant with steady warmth. And the hottest of all, like Rigel or Sirius, blaze in icy shades of blue and blue-white, their light sharp and brilliant, burning with fierce intensity. It might seem backward that something blue could be hotter than something red. But think of the flame of a candle. The blue core is the hottest part, while the outer yellow and orange layers are cooler. Stars follow the same rule. Their light shaped by temperature, chemistry, and the elements they forge in their hearts. When you gaze at the night sky and let your eyes relax, you can sometimes sense those colors, faint hints of red and blue flickering among the white. Through binoculars, the differences become clearer. Ruby stars beside sapphire ones, golden tones glowing like embers in a sea of frost. The sky becomes not just a pattern, but a painting, a living canvas of thermal light. And then there's the gentle twinkle. Why do stars shimmer and dance while planets glow steadily? The answer lies close to home in our atmosphere, as starlight travels through the shifting layers of air above Earth. It bends slightly, with each change in temperature and density. The light wavers, just as a coin at the bottom of a fountain seems to ripple through water. The farther away the source, the more precise the point of light, the stronger the effect. That's why stars twinkle, while planets, being larger and closer, appear calm and constant. For ancient storytellers, that twinkling was alive, a sign of laughter or tears or even divine speech. Today, we know it's physics, not magic. But perhaps the truth is gentler than that. Physics is magic, once you see it for what it is. The universe expressing itself in motion and light. Each shimmer is a reminder of the world between us and the stars. the thin ocean of air that lets us breathe and bends the cosmos into poetry. Without that ripple, the night might feel too still, too perfect. The twinkle makes it human, adds life to the distant fire. So the next time you step outside and watch the stars flicker, let your eyes soften. See the sky not as cold or remote, but alive, breathing with color, trembling with warmth. Every point of light has its own shade, its own story, its own heartbeat in the great cosmic spectrum. Red for age, blue for youth, gold for balance, white for brilliance. Together, they form a silent orchestra, each star a note, each hue a soundless vibration in the universe's endless symphony. And as you stand there, breathing quietly beneath that painted dome, remember your eyes are instruments too. You are not just observing the light, you are part of its harmony. If you could rise above the air, beyond clouds and storms and the shimmer of the atmosphere, you would notice something strange. The stars no longer twinkle. They shine with a steady, unwavering brilliance, like tiny pearls scattered on black silk. From the ground, we're used to that lively flicker, the way a star seems to pulse, vanish, and return again, as if breathing with the wind. But from space, the view is different. There is no air to bend or scatter the light, nothing between the star and your eyes, just pure, ancient radiance crossing the void, untouched. Astronauts often speak about this, how startlingly still the stars appear from orbit. They describe the sensation as both quiet and overwhelming. No flicker, no haze, no atmospheric veil, only clarity so perfect that it feels unreal. The stars do not sparkle, they simply are. The same is true atop Earth's highest peaks, where the air is thin and calm. Observatories built on mountaintops Mauna Kea in Hawaii, the Atacama in Chile, the Himalayas exist for this reason. There, the air trembles less. The stars stay sharper, cleaner, truer. The night sky becomes a kind of mirror, showing the universe in its natural calm. It's hard not to imagine that stillness as a kind of serenity, the universe at rest. Even light, after traveling for thousands or millions of years, seems to find peace when it finally arrives. No more distortion. No more struggle through layers of air and heat. Just perfect arrival, pure and whole. And yet, the twinkle we see from Earth has its own beauty too. It reminds us that we are here, wrapped in a living world. The air that bends starlight is the same air that fills our lungs, that carries birds and clouds, that sustains the only life we know. The shimmer of the stars is the breath of our planet, written in light. So the stillness above and the shimmer below are not opposites, they are partners. One reveals the perfection of the universe, the other reminds us of our place within it. When you look up and see a star flicker, imagine that somewhere above the atmosphere in a quiet satellite or on the surface of the moon, the same star burns steady, its beam unbroken. Both views are true. The trembling sky and the steady cosmos coexist, layered upon each other like two realities sharing the same song. And perhaps, in that way, the stars are teaching us balance, that clarity and motion, stillness and change can exist together. That what appears imperfect from one perspective may be whole from another. The night sky, when seen through air, becomes alive. It shimmers, sighs, and dances. But beyond the air, it holds a silence so deep it feels eternal. Both are real. Both are beautiful. So tonight, if you step outside and see the stars flickering faintly through the moving air, take a slow breath. Feel the connection between your lungs and the sky, between your world and the wider one beyond. You are part of both realms, the trembling earth and the still universe. And every shimmer you see is the meeting point between them. Every star you see is a story of fire, a story that began long before our world existed and will continue long after it fades. But this fire is not destruction. It is creation, the quiet work of turning darkness into light. Stars are born in clouds, immense, invisible oceans of gas and dust, drifting between the arms of galaxies. Within these clouds, something small begins to stir. Gravity, patient and gentle, starts to gather the particles together. At first, there is only motion swirling, coiling, But as the mass grows, so does the pressure. Imagine the heart of such a cloud, silent, dense, hidden from all light. The gas tightens, the particles squeeze closer, and the temperature rises slowly at first, then rapidly. When it becomes hot enough, something miraculous happens. Atoms, pressed beyond endurance, begin to fuse. Hydrogen, the simplest, lightest element in the universe, merges into helium. And with that fusion, energy is born. The cloud that was once cold and dark ignites. For millions or billions of years, that fusion continues. It's a delicate balance. Gravity pulling inward, the fire of fusion pushing outward. As long as both remain equal. In its core, hydrogen becomes helium. Later, as it ages, helium becomes carbon, oxygen, and heavier elements, the building blocks of everything we know. The iron in your blood, the calcium in your bones, the oxygen in your breath, all were forged in the hearts of long-dead stars. The poet Carl Sagan once said, "We are made of star stuff," and he was right. Every living thing on Earth carries the dust of ancient suns. The atoms that form you have traveled through space and time, through explosions and silence, through nebulae and night, to arrive here, breathing. But even stars cannot burn forever. When a star exhausts its fuel, the balance breaks. Gravity begins to win. The outer layers drift away or explode outward, while the core collapses in upon itself. Small stars, like our sun, end gently shedding their outer shells in slow, beautiful clouds, called planetary nebulae, leaving behind a tiny white dwarf, a cinder of light that can glow for trillions of years. Massive stars end differently, violently. When their fuel runs out, they collapse so fast that their cores rebound, unleashing a supernova, a blast so bright it can outshine an entire galaxy for weeks. In that instant, new elements are born: gold, silver, uranium, the rarest metals in the universe scattered into space to seed new worlds, new stars, new beginnings. Nothing is wasted. Every death becomes a creation. Every ending, a new beginning written in light. Our own sun will one day follow this path in about 5 billion years. It will swell into a red giant, then gently cast off its outer layers. But don't worry. By then, humanity, or whatever carries our legacy, may have found new skies to call home. Tonight, as you rest beneath the stars, remember, each one you see is alive, burning quietly. They do not rage. They simply continue patient, steady, giving. And when they are gone, their ashes will drift into the universe, joining with dust and gas to form the next generation of stars, planets, and perhaps even life. The stars do not fear their endings. They trust the cycle, knowing that within every collapse lies the spark of rebirth. So breathe gently now, and feel that truth in your chest. The same fire that shines in the stars burns, softly and eternally, within you. Among all the stars that pierce the night, one outshines them all. Sirius, the dog star. If you've ever stepped outside on a crisp winter night and noticed a dazzling white-blue spark low in the sky, brighter than anything else around it, that was Sirius, calling through the cold air like a lighthouse of the heavens. Its name comes from the Greek Seirios, meaning the scorcher. For when it rose with the sun in ancient times, it marked the hottest weeks of summer, the dog days. Farmers in Egypt watched its dawn rising to know when the Nile would flood. Sailors used it to time their voyages. Poets saw in it a symbol of loyalty and strength, forever following the great hunter Orion across the sky. Sirius shines so brightly because it is close, only 8.5 light years away, one of our nearest stellar neighbors. Its light takes just over 8 years to reach us, meaning what you see tonight left that star when your own life was still being written a chapter ago. But Sirius is not alone. It has a hidden companion, a faint, dense white dwarf known as Sirius B. Long ago, that second star was the larger of the two, a giant that burned through its fuel quickly and collapsed into a tiny ember no larger than Earth. But as massive as the Sunday, the two now orbit one another, locked in a slow, graceful waltz every 50 years. Through a telescope, astronomers can glimpse that faint partner, shining beside the brilliant glare of Sirius A, a ghostly spark next to a beacon. Together they remind us that brightness does not always mean youth, and faintness does not mean weakness. The quieter light, after all, has already survived its storm. To the naked eye, Sirius gleams with a clean, blue-white brilliance that almost seems to flicker in color, flashes of red and green when it's low on the horizon. That shimmer is not its doing, but the work of our own atmosphere, bending its light like a diamond catching many hues. There is something almost comforting about Sirius. It is the same star the first humans saw when they looked up from the fires of prehistory. It guided hunters, builders, sailors, and storytellers. It was drawn into myth and worship, measured by astronomers, whispered about by lovers. And yet, it is the same steady, bright, always rising and setting with the turning of our world. In the deep of winter, when the air is sharp and the world feels still, Sirius climbs highest, a spark of living fire in the cold sky. Look toward Orion, the hunter. Trace his belt of 3 bright stars downward to the left, and there it is, radiant and unwavering, the dog star keeping watch. In its light lies a quiet promise that even in the darkest season, brightness endures. The same energy that burns in that distant sun also flows through you, a thread of shared creation stretching across light years. The ancient Egyptians called Sirius the Star of Isis, a sign of renewal and rebirth. They believed it heralded the flooding of the Nile, the return of life to the land. And in a way, they were right. Sirius does mark cycles not of rivers, but of time itself, reminding us that even the farthest fires still follow a rhythm of rising, shining, fading, and returning. So tonight, when you see it glittering above the horizon, let it be your beacon too. A reminder of endurance, of quiet strength, of companionship in the vast dark. Sirius shines not to dazzle, but to reassure. It says, in its steady way, I have always been here. I will always be here. Keep looking up. High above, clustered close together like a handful of jewels scattered across velvet, lies one of the most beloved sights in all the heavens, the Pleiades, also known as the Seven Sisters. Even to the naked eye, they shimmer delicately in the constellation Taurus, tiny blue-white lights that seem to dance beside one another, as if whispering ancient secrets across time. On a dark, clear night, you may count 6 or 7, but in truth there are hundreds of stars there, bound together by gravity, born from the same cosmic cloud. The Pleiades are young, only about 100 million years old. To the universe, they are children. Their light, still fresh and bright. Each star burns hot and blue, pouring energy into the faint, misty dust that still surrounds them, remnants of the very nebula that gave them birth. Through binoculars or a telescope, that dust glows like a pale veil, the reflection of starlight scattered by cosmic grains. Across cultures and centuries, these stars have carried stories of family, of loss, of longing, of guidance. To the ancient Greeks, they were the daughters of Atlas and Pleione, chased forever through the sky by Orion, the hunter. To the Japanese, they were Subaru, a word that means to unite. You may even see them reflected in the emblem of a modern car, a quiet nod to the unity of the stars. For the Maori of New Zealand, the cluster is called Matariki, marking the beginning of the new year, a time to honor the dead and celebrate renewal. And to the Cherokee, they were young dancers who rose into the heavens, leaving their footprints as starlight behind. Every culture that ever gazed upon the Pleiades seemed to feel something similar. A sense of closeness, of kinship, of shared origin. Perhaps it is because the stars themselves are siblings, a stellar family traveling together through space, bound by invisible ties. Astronomers call it an open cluster, and they have traced its slow drift through the galaxy. Millions of years from now, those stars will scatter, each moving on its own path, and the Pleiades will dissolve into memory. But tonight, they are still together, a portrait of unity shining across the cold. When you look up at them, imagine that you are seeing a family frozen in light, sisters leaning close, keeping one another company in the long night of the cosmos. Their faint blue shimmer carries the warmth of youth and the gentleness of connection. You can almost imagine them humming softly, like a lullaby that has traveled for hundreds of light years to reach you. And yet, their light is ancient, older than any human civilization, older than our language for beauty itself. It began its journey before the first forests of Earth grew. That's what makes the Pleiades so soothing to the soul. They are not just stars, they are continuity, a reminder that family, whether of blood or of spirit, endures across distance and time. So, if you find them tonight, pause for a moment. Let your eyes rest on their glow. Breathe in the cool air, and remember that these same stars watched over every generation before you. They will still be there for those yet to come. Their gentle radiance is not loud or commanding, it's quiet, comforting, and full of love. A family of light, still traveling together through eternity. Beneath the mighty constellation Orion, just below his famous belt of 3 bright stars, lies something soft and glowing, a blur that looks almost like a breath on glass. This is the Orion Nebula, one of the closest and brightest star-forming regions to Earth, and one of the most beautiful places in the known universe. When you gaze upon it, you are looking into a cradle of creation. Within that delicate cloud of light and shadow, new stars are being born, hundreds, perhaps thousands, still wrapped in the gas and dust that will one day become planets, moons, and maybe even life. The nebula itself lies about 1,300 light-years away, vast enough to swallow our entire solar system millions of times over. To the eye, it glows faintly, a smear of light hanging in Orion's sword, but through a telescope, blossoms into color swirls of rose, violet, and silver blue. Alive with motion, it's not silent, not truly. Invisible radiation hums through it, and winds of charged particles race outward at hundreds of kilometers per second. Yet from here, beneath Earth's sky, it seems tranquil, a celestial watercolor brushed across the darkness. Astronomers call the Orion Nebula a stellar nursery. Inside, gravity gathers gas into knots that collapse under their own weight until fusion ignites. In those hidden cores, new suns flare to life, pushing away the clouds that once concealed them. Each newborn star then shapes the space around it, lighting the nebula, sculpting its wisps, painting its edges in brilliance. It is strange and moving to think that this is how our sun began, not as a single spark in the void, but as one of many children in a glowing cloud, born from the same cosmic dust that once belonged to other stars. The cycle of creation never truly ends. Each generation of stars dies and scatters its ashes, and from those ashes, new ones arise. Ancient watchers saw the Orion Nebula too, though they didn't know its nature. To them, it was a faint patch on the hunter's sword, a mystery hidden in plain sight. They told stories about the warrior Orion chasing the Pleiades, about battles and bravery. But within his sword, unseen by their eyes, was something softer, the quiet birth of stars. When you look at Orion on a clear night, follow his belt downward to that hazy point. Try to imagine what it represents: the universe, creating itself anew. Imagine countless stars being born right now, their light not yet strong enough to reach us, their future world still only dust. In that glowing mist lies everything we are made of: hydrogen and helium, carbon and oxygen, the atoms of oceans and forests and hearts. You are, quite literally, looking at the recipe for life written across the sky. If you close your eyes, you can almost feel it, the pulse of something vast and tender, the universe breathing softly as it spins new suns into being. The Orion Nebula is more than a sight. It's a reminder that creation never sleeps, that the night is alive with beginnings. So when you gaze upward and see that faint patch of light beneath Orion's belt, let it fill you with calm wonder. You are witnessing the universe in the act of renewal, patient, timeless, and infinitely gentle. Every star you see was once born in such a place. Every heartbeat you feel is, in some distant way, a continuation of that same cosmic rhythm. The Orion Nebula glows not just for astronomers, it glows for dreamers. It glows for anyone who has ever looked into the dark and felt the quiet certainty that even there, life is forming, light is growing, and the story is still being written. If you could drift slowly through the Orion Nebula, past the newly forming stars and swirling dust, you'd begin to understand how diverse the universe's artistry truly is. Nebulae. These vast clouds of gas and dust come in many forms. Some glow with their own light, others shine only by reflection. Together, they are the brushstrokes of the cosmos, painting light across the endless dark. The first kind are called emission nebulae. They are alive with energy. Inside them, massive newborn stars flood their surroundings with ultraviolet light, heating and ionizing the gas. The atoms, hydrogen, oxygen, sulfur, respond by glowing in their own unique colors, like pigments that light themselves from within. If you could see with perfect eyes, hydrogen would shimmer red, oxygen would glow green, and sulfur would whisper in faint pink tones. These are the hues you glimpse in photographs of the Orion Nebula or the Lagoon Nebula, colors not imagined, but real, born of elemental light. Each glowing wisp tells a story. Hydrogen, the most abundant element in the universe, dancing with the energy of nearby stars. Oxygen, once trapped in ancient stellar hearts, now free in the void. Sulfur, heavy and patient, spreading like a soft blush across the cosmic sky. But not all nebulae burn with their own fire. Some shine only by reflection, cosmic mirrors catching the light of nearby stars. These are the gentle ones, often colored blue, because dust scatters blue light more effectively, just as Earth's atmosphere turns our sky azure by day. The Pleiades, those seven sisters in Taurus, are wrapped in such a reflection nebula. The stars themselves are young and bright, but their light falls upon the dust left over from their birth, lighting it softly like moonlight on mist. The effect is tender, delicate, a kind of starlight echo. Luminous but serene. There are also dark nebulae, the hidden ones, immense clouds so dense they block even the light behind them. To the eye, they appear as gaps, empty spaces in the Milky Way. They are wombs. Within their darkness, new stars are forming, unseen. So, the universe paints with contrast, bright against dark, glowing against shadow, reflection beside fire. And just like a master artist, it never repeats itself. Each nebula is unique, shaped by the winds of dying stars, the pull of gravity, and the quiet hand of time. If you were to float among them, you would see no hard edges, only gradients, flowing forms, ribbons of gas stretching for light years, curling like smoke from a divine breath. You might feel the quiet rhythm of creation itself, the way energy becomes beauty, the way chaos becomes harmony. From afar, we see them as delicate, almost fragile. But that is an illusion. Nebulae are powerful places. They are the birthplaces of stars, the forges of elements, the storytellers of eternity. And yet, despite their grandeur, they are also soothing. There's something deeply peaceful about the way they glow, not in bursts or flickers, but in steady luminescence, like a nightlight left burning for the cosmos. Each nebula is a reminder that beauty is not confined to form. It can live in clouds, in dust, in uncertainty. That light can find its way even through the densest shadow. That every creation, even those that seem chaotic, holds a quiet purpose. So tonight, as you drift toward rest, imagine yourself floating through those clouds of color and silence. The air is gone. The sound is gone. But the light remains whispering its eternal language of renewal. You are moving through the breath of the universe itself. And as you glide among the glowing clouds, you might realize you, too, are made of this light. You are not separate from the stars. You are the dust that remembers how to shine. Every star is born with a promise to shine, to give, to create. But some, when their time comes to end, do not fade quietly. They go out in glory. They collapse, and in that collapse, they explode, lighting up their galaxies with one final, magnificent breath. This is a supernova, the death cry of a massive star, and one of the most powerful events in the universe. It begins in silence, deep within the heart of a sun, many times larger than our own. For millions of years, the star fuses hydrogen into helium, helium into heavier elements, carbon, oxygen, silicon, iron, building a layered core like an onion of fire. But iron is different. It cannot release energy through fusion. And so, when the core fills with it, the star reaches its limit. In an instant, gravity takes over. The core collapses faster than thought, faster than light can flee. Atoms themselves are crushed, and the outer layers of the star fall inward, only to rebound in a tremendous surge of energy, a shock wave that rips through the star, blowing it apart in a blinding flash. For a few brief weeks, that single star can outshine an entire galaxy. Its light races across the cosmos, a beacon of both destruction and creation. Because within that moment of death, something new is born. The explosion forges the heaviest elements: gold, silver, platinum, iodine, all the rare things that fill our world and our bodies. Every piece of jewelry, every drop of iron in your blood, every atom of copper in your veins was once part of a dying star's final gift. So when you see gold, shimmer, or iron rust, or blood flow beneath your skin, you are seeing supernova dust, the universe remembering its own fires. After the blast fades, what remains of the star's core becomes something strange and haunting. If it was large but not enormous, the collapse leaves behind a neutron star, a sphere only about 20 kilometers wide, but so dense that a teaspoon of it would weigh billions of tons. It spins rapidly, sometimes hundreds of times per second, beaming radio waves like a cosmic lighthouse. These are the pulsars, silent timekeepers of the galaxy. But if the original star was truly vast, its gravity crushes it further still into a point with no surface, no boundary, no escape, a black hole. There, light itself cannot flee. Space and time fold inward, caught in an endless descent. Yet even black holes are not destroyers in the cruel sense. Around them, they sculpt beauty disks of light, spiraling gas, jets of radiation stretching across light years. They are not endings, but doorways, shaping the universe's architecture in their invisible hands. To witness a supernova, even through a telescope, is to glimpse both the fragility and resilience of existence. It is violent, yes, but it is also generous. It returns to the cosmos everything it has made. In that way, stars live much like us. They burn brightly, they give of themselves, and when their time is done, they leave something behind. Matter, memory, meaning. The next generation of stars, planets, and life will rise from those ashes. And perhaps, someday, the dust from one ancient supernova will gather again in a new star, a new world, a new heart that beats and looks back at the night sky, wondering where it came from. The answer, of course, will be written in light, and in that light, eternity whispers softly. Nothing truly ends. Not every star ends in an explosion. Some fade gently, others collapse silently, leaving behind strange, beautiful remnants, the echoes of their lives. These remains are small, but their gravity is immense. Their silence deep. They are the universe's way of remembering. When a modest star, like our sun, exhausts its fuel, it doesn't die in violence. Instead, it sighs. Its outer layers drift away into space, forming glowing shells of gas planetary nebulae, while the star's heart remains behind as a white dwarf. A white dwarf is tiny, about the size of Earth, yet it contains nearly as much mass as the Sunday. Imagine packing a mountain into a teaspoon. Its matter is so compressed that a single cubic centimeter weighs as much as an elephant. It no longer burns, yet it still shines faintly, purely, with the lingering warmth of what once was. Over billions of years, the white dwarf cools and dims, eventually fading into darkness, a black dwarf, cold and quiet. None yet exist, because the universe itself is still too young for any to have fully cooled. But one day, in the far future, the galaxy will be filled with them. Silent cinders of ancient suns, resting in eternal night. Some stars, however, are born with greater mass, and their deaths are more dramatic. When such a star collapses, it doesn't stop at a white dwarf. Instead, gravity squeezes it further until protons and electrons fuse into neutrons. The result is a neutron star, an object no bigger than a city, yet so dense that a single teaspoon would weigh billions of tons. These stars are strange things spinning rapidly, sometimes hundreds of times a second, their magnetic field strong enough to bend atoms. Many emit beams of radio waves, sweeping through space like cosmic lighthouses. When those beams pass over Earth, we detect them as rhythmic pulses, pulsars, the ticking clocks of the cosmos, perfectly steady, measuring time in silence. And then there are the giants, stars so massive that even neutrons cannot withstand their collapse. For them, the end is something beyond imagining. They fall inward without end, folding space itself into a single, invisible point, a black hole. Here, gravity becomes absolute. Even light cannot escape. The star's surface, if it can be called that, becomes the event horizon, a one-way boundary between the visible universe and whatever lies within. Beyond it, all known physics falters. Time slows, space bends, matter disappears, or perhaps transforms into something we cannot yet understand. But though black holes are invisible, they are not unseen. Around them, gas and dust swirl in luminous rings called accretion disks, heated to millions of degrees as they spiral inward. These disks shine brighter than galaxies, marking where the invisible dwells. And when two black holes merge, their dark bodies colliding, the universe itself ripples. Space-time trembles, sending out waves we can now detect on Earth. Gravitational waves, the soft music of cosmic motion. It is strange, almost poetic, that from stillness and darkness come the universe's most profound sounds. That from the quiet death of a star emerges a rhythm that echoes across creation. So when you look up at the night sky, know that not all stars shine. Some whisper instead. Their light is gone, but their presence remains bending space, shaping galaxies, guiding light, like unseen hands. These remnants, white dwarfs, neutron stars, black holes, are not ghosts of the universe. They are its memory. They remind us that, even in endings, there is structure, beauty, and continuation. The stars that once burned are still here, in another form, keeping the cosmos whole. And perhaps that is the greatest comfort of all. Nothing, not even the death of a sun, is truly lost. If you could drift far beyond our Milky Way, beyond the glow of its spiral arms and the faint pull of its dark halo, you'd begin to see something extraordinary, something that the naked eye can never glimpse. From that unimaginable distance, the universe would no longer look like scattered galaxies, drifting randomly through emptiness. Instead, it would reveal its hidden architecture, a grand and delicate pattern woven from light and gravity. Astronomers call it the cosmic web. It is the skeleton of the universe, an immense network of filaments stretching across billions of light years, made of galaxies, gas, and dark matter. Each thread contains clusters of galaxies, islands of light, linked together by the invisible pull of gravity, like beads on strands of silk. Between those filaments lie vast, dark spaces, cosmic voids so empty that they contain almost nothing at all. Yet even in that emptiness, faint traces of gas and light move, whispering the story of creation itself. It's astonishing to realize that the same pattern exists everywhere, from the smallest clusters to the largest scales. The galaxies are not scattered randomly, they form a kind of cosmic lace, shaped by the first moments after the Big Bang. The gravity of dark matter drew the first gas into filaments, where the first stars ignited, lighting the framework of existence. If you could fly through it, the universe would look like an endless coral reef of galaxies, glowing nodes, connected by bridges of starlight, pulsing faintly in the dark. The Milky Way would be one of those nodes, linked to Andromeda and the Triangulum galaxy, all part of a larger structure called the local group itself, bound into the Laniakea supercluster, an immense continent of galaxies flowing gently through space. Even farther still, everything moves as one drawn by an unseen gravitational center, perhaps the mysterious Great Attractor, pulling thousands of galaxies toward it like a slow cosmic tide. It's humbling to realize that our home, our solar system, our planet, everything we know is a single grain of dust within this immeasurable web. And yet, it is all connected. Every galaxy, every star, every atom follows the same pattern, shaped by the same ancient forces. There's a quiet poetry in that. The universe itself is not chaos, but structure, not noise, but rhythm. The same geometry that shapes a spider's web, a seashell, or a whirlpool also shapes the vastness of the cosmos. Fractals of creation, repeating from the microscopic to the infinite. In that realization, the boundary between small and large dissolves. You are not apart from this web, you are woven into it. The atoms in your body were once drawn together by these same cosmic threads. The gravity that binds galaxies also binds you to the Earth. We often speak of the universe as if it were out there. But it is not separate. It is continuous, flowing through you, around you, and beyond you, an unbroken field of connection, stretching from the smallest quark to the edge of all that exists. So when you look up at the night sky, imagine that you're not just seeing scattered stars, but glimpses of this hidden tapestry. Every point of light is part of a greater whole, a single living structure pulsing softly in the dark. You are not lost in the universe. You are suspended in its web, held, supported, and shining quietly among its threads. And if you listen with your heart, you might almost hear it. The faint vibration of creation itself, a song of gravity, time, and light, weaving eternity together. The night sky may seem still, stars fixed, galaxies silent. But the truth is the opposite. Everything is moving. Everything is expanding. The universe itself is stretching, like a vast, invisible fabric pulled gently from all sides. This idea was once unthinkable. For centuries, people imagined the cosmos as eternal and unchanging. The stars hung forever in a perfect dome. But in the 20th century, astronomers discovered something astonishing. When they studied the light of distant galaxies, they saw that the light was shifted toward the red end of the spectrum, the same way a train whistle lowers in pitch as it moves away. This redshift meant one thing: those galaxies were retreating from us. And not just moving, the space between us and them was growing. The universe, it seemed, was expanding. The idea came first from theory, from Albert Einstein's equations, and then from observation, through the work of astronomers like Edwin Hubble. They found that the farther away a galaxy was, the faster it was receding. Not because the galaxies were flying through space, but because space itself was expanding, carrying them with it. Imagine dots drawn on the surface of an inflating balloon. As the balloon expands, the dots move apart, though none of them are actually traveling across the surface. In the same way, galaxies drift away from each other, not through space, but with space. Every second, the fabric of the cosmos grows, stretching silently, invisibly. The light from distant galaxies lengthens as it travels, its waves pulled wider by the expanding universe. Over billions of years, galaxies will drift farther apart, their light dimming, fading into darkness. Yet the expansion is not slowing down. In the late 1990 seconds, scientists discovered something even more mysterious. The universe is expanding faster and faster. Something unseen, a force they call dark energy, is driving this acceleration, pushing galaxies apart with quiet persistence. No one yet knows what dark energy truly is. It fills space itself, invisible, undetectable, except through its effects. It is as if the universe has an inner breath, a slow exhale that never ends. This expansion does not pull apart the things close to us. Gravity and electromagnetism hold the Earth to the Sun, the sun to the Milky Way, the atoms in your body together. The universe stretches on large scales, but within galaxies and within you, bonds remain strong. In the very distant future, billions upon billions of years from now, galaxies will drift so far apart that their light will no longer reach each other. The night skies of distant civilizations, if any still exist, will be empty and dark, with no stars beyond their own. They may never know there was once a universe beyond their island of light, and yet, that too is part of the story, a universe forever in motion, forever changing. It's easy to feel small within such vastness. But expansion is not separation. It is creation. Every moment, new space is born between the galaxies. Every instant, the universe becomes more of itself. Think of it this way. The cosmos is not a single explosion that happened long ago. It is an ongoing, unfolding, still blooming outward. And we are within that bloom, like tiny cells in an ever-growing flower of light. So, when you look at the stars tonight, remember they are not fixed in place. They are riding the current of time itself, drifting on the gentle tide of an expanding sea. The universe is not only old, it is alive, breathing in slow motion, and in its endless expansion, there is room for everything. Every star, every thought, every dream, you are part of that growing fabric, woven into the universe's quiet unfolding, moving with it as it stretches toward infinity. Long before the first stars were born, before galaxies spun, and before atoms gathered into worlds, the universe was dark. Not empty, but dark. Then, in an instant beyond imagining, everything began. Astronomers call that beginning the Big Bang, not an explosion in space, but the sudden creation of space itself. In that first fraction of a second, energy condensed into matter, matter into particles, particles into atoms. The universe swelled from smaller than a grain of sand to larger than a galaxy, all within moments. And when it did, it glowed. The newborn universe was a blinding ocean of light and heat. But as it expanded, it cooled. After about 380,000 years, an instant in cosmic time, atoms began to form. Light, once trapped in a fog of particles, could finally travel freely. That first light has never stopped moving. It has crossed billions of years and trillions of kilometers, stretched and softened by the expansion of space, until it became what we now call the cosmic microwave background, the faint afterglow of creation itself. If you could see it with microwave eyes, you would find that this light fills the entire sky, coming from every direction, uniform, yet faintly mottled, carrying tiny ripples of temperature and density. Those ripples are the seeds from which every galaxy, every star, every world grew. It is humbling to realize that the oldest thing you can observe is not a distant star or a faraway galaxy, but this soft, omnipresent glow, the memory of the universe's own awakening. It surrounds us still, everywhere, like a whisper that says, "I remember." When astronomers first detected it in 1965, they didn't know what they had found. It was a quiet hiss, a faint background static that seemed to come from nowhere and everywhere. But soon it became clear. They were listening to the echo of the beginning, the fading song of the first light ever released. Today, satellites like Planck and WUMAP have mapped that radiation in exquisite detail, showing that it is astonishingly smooth, the same in all directions, to within a few tiny fluctuations. Those small irregularities, parts just slightly warmer or cooler, are what allowed matter to gather and form galaxies, stars, and eventually, us. Had the universe been perfectly even, there would be no structure, no gravity wells, no light, no life. So even in its first breath, the cosmos carried within it the pattern of everything that would one day exist. The light that fills the sky, tonight the starlight, the moonlight, the glow of distant galaxies, all of it is an echo of that first ancient light. Every photon that touches your eyes tonight is a descendant of that first radiance, shaped and changed by time, but born from the same cosmic fire. If you could listen closely enough, you might still hear it. A soft vibration beneath all existence, the heartbeat of creation still humming in the background of space. And maybe, in your quietest moments, you already do. Because the same spark that ignited the universe's first light burns within you. The same atoms that once swirled in that primordial glow now compose your hands, your breath, your thoughts. You are not just part of the universe, you are part of its memory. When you close your eyes tonight, imagine that faint, ancient light, still glowing softly behind all things. The first dawn that never truly ended, just stretched and softened into the night we know. The beginning is still here, all around you, and the light that was born at the dawn of time has never gone out, it only became gentler, waiting for you to notice. As time passed, the universe's first atoms gathered into clouds of gas, pulled together by gravity. These clouds formed the first stars, then clusters, and eventually the first galaxies, islands of light in the cosmic ocean. Galaxies are not static, they spin, swirl, and evolve over billions of years. Some, like our Milky Way, are spiral galaxies, with arms curving outward in elegant arcs, glowing with young stars and dust. Others are elliptical, smooth and rounded, often older, quieter, and filled with ancient stars. Then there are the irregular galaxies. Chaotic, sometimes the aftermath of cosmic encounters, distorted and reshaped by gravitational forces. Galaxies are constantly interacting. Gravity pulls them together in slow, majestic dances. Collisions between galaxies are not violent in the way we imagine the stars themselves. Rarely collide because the distances are immense, but their gas, dust, and dark matter intertwine, triggering bursts of star formation and creating stunning visual patterns. Our Milky Way is on such a path. In about 4 billion years, it will meet the Andromeda Galaxy in a grand cosmic embrace. Together, their stars will swirl. New star clusters will form, and the two will eventually merge into a single, massive galaxy. These interactions are a reminder that nothing in the cosmos is truly isolated. Galaxies, stars, and planets are part of a vast gravitational web. Even our own solar system, spinning quietly in a spiral arm, is moving along a path shaped by the gravity of billions of other stars. Clusters of galaxies form superclusters, like the Laniakea supercluster, a massive collection of galaxies including our Milky Way, all flowing toward a common gravitational center. Beyond that, the universe is structured like a web, vast filaments of galaxies separated by immense voids of nearly empty space. This cosmic dance happens over timescales far beyond human comprehension. Yet each movement leaves traces, ripples in space, bursts of light, and new generations of stars born from the collisions of clouds of gas. The universe is alive in its motion. Not static, but a flowing, evolving tapestry. When you gaze at the night sky, every distant galaxy you see is part of this dance. Some are receding faster than light due to cosmic expansion. Some will one day merge with others in slow gravitational waltzes. The heavens are not a frozen picture, but a living story, written over billions of years, with each galaxy a character moving gracefully across the stage of eternity. Even from Earth, we are witnesses to this endless ballet. Each point of light is a note in a symphony billions of years in the making, a reminder that the universe is dynamic, creative, and astonishingly interconnected. So tonight, as you look up at the stars, imagine their hidden movements, the spirals spinning, the galaxies approaching, the collisions reshaping the cosmos. Every flicker of light tells a story of motion, growth, and the unceasing dance of creation. Stars are not eternal. Each one lives a life of brilliance, change, and eventual transformation. Their journeys begin in the dark nurseries of the cosmos, nebulae, clouds of gas and dust that collapse under gravity. Within these clouds, pockets of matter condense, heating up and eventually igniting nuclear fusion the moment a star is born. Young stars shine with a purity and intensity that fills their surroundings. In clusters, they light up the clouds that birthed them, creating glowing tapestries of color and shadow. Their energy pushes against the dust, carving cavities and shaping the environment for the next generation of stars. Stars come in many sizes and temperatures. Red dwarfs burn slowly, quietly glowing for trillions of years. Blue giants blaze intensely, hot and short-lived, burning through their fuel in just millions of years. Our Sun, a yellow dwarf, is moderate, steady and sustaining life on its planets over billions of years. Throughout their lives, stars fuse elements in their cores, building heavier atoms that are essential for planets and life. Hydrogen becomes helium. Helium becomes carbon, oxygen, and beyond. Each fusion reaction releases light and heat, illuminating the universe and seeding the cosmos with the building blocks for worlds yet to come. Eventually, stars reach the end of their main phase. Their fates diverge depending on mass. Small to medium stars, like the Sun, gently shed outer layers, leaving behind white dwarfs. Massive stars explode in magnificent supernovae, scattering enriched material across space, triggering new waves of star formation, and sometimes leaving behind neutron stars or black holes. These deaths are not endings, but beginnings. Supernovae distribute elements like iron, calcium, and oxygen, the very components of planets, oceans, and life. The universe recycles itself, generation after generation, through cycles of birth and death. In clusters and galaxies, stars live and die together. Their radiation, winds, and explosions shape the interstellar medium, sculpting spiral arms and seeding the formation of new stellar generations. The cosmos is alive with these rhythms, a continuous cycle of creation and transformation. When you look up at the night sky, remember that the stars you see are in the midst of their own lives. Some are newborns, others mature, and many are already fading or gone, leaving only light traveling across space. Each point of light is a story of fire, endurance, and legacy. In their quiet or violent ways, stars teach us about change, persistence, and the continuity of life on a cosmic scale. They remind us that even in apparent endings, there is creation, and even in stillness, there is motion. So tonight, as you gaze at the heavens, imagine the stars breathing, some flickering gently, others blazing fiercely, all participating in the eternal cycle of the universe. Each twinkle is a heartbeat, each glow a legacy, and each distant light a whisper from a cosmic parent, carrying the story of life, matter, and wonder across space and time. Between the stars lie vast clouds of gas and dust known as nebulae, places where stars are born and where the universe paints its most breathtaking scenes. Nebulae come in many forms, glowing with vivid colors and intricate shapes that seem almost alive. Some are emission nebulae, energized by the radiation of nearby hot stars. Ultraviolet light excites the gas, causing it to shine in reds, greens, and blues depending on its composition. These clouds are often the cradles of new stars, where gravity pulls matter together, igniting nuclear fusion in young suns that will one day light entire galaxies. Others are reflection nebulae, which do not emit their own light but instead reflect the glow of stars nearby. Dust particles scatter starlight, often creating a gentle bluish shimmer that spreads softly across the surrounding darkness. These nebulae are quieter, subtler, yet no less enchanting, like cosmic mirrors revealing the hidden beauty of the universe. Then there are dark nebulae, thick clouds so dense that they block the light behind them. They appear as black silhouettes against brighter regions, mysterious and silent. Within these shadows, stars are forming unseen, cocooned in the very dust that hides them from view. Nebulae are not static. Stellar winds and shock waves from nearby supernovae sculpt them, creating pillars, filaments, and cavities. The famous pillars of creation in the Eagle Nebula, for example, stretch for light years. Towering structures of gas and dust where new stars are taking shape. Every nebula tells a story of creation, destruction, and renewal. They are laboratories where astronomers study the formation of stars and planets, where the chemistry of life begins with clouds of hydrogen, helium, carbon, and oxygen. Through infrared and radio observations, telescopes can peer inside, revealing stellar embryos wrapped in dust and gas, invisible to the naked eye. These glowing clouds also remind us of the scale of time. The light we see today may have traveled thousands of years to reach us, showing the nebula not as it is now, but as it was when humans first learned to track the stars. Within these cosmic nurseries, time flows differently, slow and patient, measured in millions of years. As you watch the night sky, imagine these clouds far beyond the reach of your eyes, glowing silently, nurturing stars that may one day light planets like our own. Nebulae are the universe's brushes, painting with gas, dust, and light across the canvas of space. Each swirl and wisp a chapter in the grand story of cosmic creation, a quiet testament to the beauty and complexity that surrounds us. Even in their distance, they are intimately connected to our existence. Every atom in your body was forged in a star and passed through clouds like these. The colors, the structures, the patterns, all echo through time, bridging the gap between the birth of stars and the life you experience tonight. In the gentle glow of nebulae, the universe whispers its secrets, that creation is ongoing, that light emerges from darkness, and that even in the vast emptiness of space, beauty blooms endlessly. Stars are often not born alone. Many emerge in groups called star clusters, bound together by gravity. These clusters can be as small as a few dozen stars or as immense as hundreds of thousands, shimmering like jewels scattered across the cosmos. There are two main types of star clusters: open clusters and globular clusters. Open clusters are loose, youthful groups of stars, still near the clouds from which they formed. They twinkle together in a chaotic yet harmonious dance, often with a few massive, bright stars dominating the scene. These clusters are dynamic, their stars slowly drifting apart over millions of years, eventually becoming part of the galactic field. Globular clusters, on the other hand, are dense, ancient spheres containing hundreds of thousands, sometimes millions of stars packed tightly together. Their stars are old and stable, relics from the early universe. To the naked eye, they may appear as faint fuzzy patches, but through telescopes, globular clusters reveal a dazzling, glittering swarm, a timeless family of suns orbiting the galaxy in majestic synchrony. Each cluster is a laboratory of cosmic history. By studying them, astronomers can trace the evolution of stars, the formation of galaxies, and the enrichment of the universe with heavier elements. Globular clusters, with their ancient stars, act as living fossils, preserving the conditions of the universe billions of years ago. These stellar families also show us the interconnectedness of the cosmos. Within a cluster, stars influence one another's evolution. Radiation, winds, and occasional supernovae shape the cluster's environment, sometimes triggering new star formation or sculpting the interstellar medium. Even the Milky Way's spiral arms owe their brightness and structure to the presence of such clusters, which sprinkle light across the galaxy. When you look at the night sky, some of the stars you see may belong to open clusters, their collective glow forming subtle patterns. Others are distant globular clusters, faint reminders of the ancient universe, silently tracing their orbits around the galactic center. Each star in a cluster shares a common origin, a shared history that stretches back billions of years. Clusters are more than just collections of stars. They are stories of birth, growth, and endurance. They remind us that even in the vastness of space, companionship exists. Stars are rarely truly alone. Each cluster is a family of light, bound together by invisible forces, carrying their history across the darkness. As you rest tonight, imagine lying beneath a sky sprinkled with these families of stars, each cluster glimmering softly, a reminder of the connections that exist, not only in space, but across time. That in the vast universe, nothing truly shines alone. Everything is part of a greater whole. Every so often, the night sky comes alive with fleeting streaks of light, like sparks from a celestial fire. These are meteor showers, the result of Earth passing through streams of dust and debris left behind by comets and asteroids. Though the particles are tiny, often no larger than grains of sand, their speed and energy create brilliant streaks that blaze across the heavens. Meteor showers are predictable, recurring events. Each year, Earth intersects these debris trails, producing showers with evocative names like the Perseids, Geminids, and Leonids. Observers under dark skies can see dozens, sometimes hundreds, of meteors per hour during peak nights. These fleeting streaks are the universe's own fireworks, brief but awe-inspiring. The light we see is not from the particles themselves, but from the air they pass through. As meteoroids hurtle into Earth's atmosphere at tens of thousands of kilometers per hour, the air in front of them compresses and heats up, glowing brightly. Most burn up completely before reaching the ground, leaving only a luminous trace behind. Some meteors leave lasting trails, called trains, shimmering faintly long after the streak itself has vanished. These glowing wisps are shaped by high-altitude winds, twisting and curling like smoke in the sky. For a few minutes, they hang suspended, a reminder that even in fleeting events, beauty endures. Occasionally, larger meteoroids create fireballs, bright enough to cast shadows on the ground, and in rare cases, bolides explode with audible thunder, reminding us of the power inherent even in tiny fragments of the cosmos. Historic events, like the Chelyabinsk meteor in 2013, illustrate that Earth is continuously brushed by these cosmic visitors, most harmless, some spectacular. Meteor showers connect us across time. Ancient civilizations recorded them, sometimes interpreting them as omens or messages from the heavens. Today, we understand their mechanics, yet the awe remains unchanged. Each streak of light is a reminder that Earth is part of a larger, moving solar system, interacting with objects that have traveled millions of kilometers over centuries. As you lie beneath the night sky, imagine these tiny travelers streaking past unseen, leaving their luminous signatures for a brief moment, bridging the vast distances between comets, planets, and our home. They are cosmic messengers, whispers of the solar system's ongoing motion, and they invite us to pause, watch, and marvel at the universe's quiet choreography. Meteor showers remind us that even the smallest objects in space can create moments of wonder. They bring the vast cosmos closer, visible to our eyes in fleeting, brilliant arcs of light. Every streak is a heartbeat of the universe, fleeting yet unforgettable, a gentle spectacle for those who take the time to look up and notice. Among the stars, some points of light stand out as steady, unblinking beacons. These are the planets of our solar system, wandering across the sky along paths called the ecliptic. Unlike stars, which twinkle due to Earth's atmosphere, planets shine with a steady light, their presence constant and comforting in the darkness. Mercury, closest to the Sun, is elusive and fleeting. It appears briefly near the horizon just before sunrise or after sunset, a small, silvery ember quickly swallowed by the glow of day. Venus, the brilliant morning or evening star, can cast faint shadows under the darkest skies, its reflective clouds sending back sunlight in a radiant, steady glow. Mars, the red planet, commands attention every 26 months during opposition, glowing with a ruddy, fiery hue. Jupiter, the largest planet, shines as a bright, steady point, and with binoculars, its 4 largest moons drift around it like tiny jewels. Saturn, adorned with its magnificent rings, becomes visible even in modest telescopes, its golden form a quiet marvel of elegance and scale. Farther still, Uranus and Neptune lurk at the edges of visibility. Faint, greenish and deep blue dots that remind us of the vastness of the solar system. These distant giants move slowly across the sky, serene sentinels on the outskirts of our planetary neighborhood. Planets do not merely shine, they move. Across weeks and months, they trace arcs, drift between constellations, and shift positions slowly but surely. Ancient civilizations memorized these wandering lights, giving them names, mythologies, and stories. They became markers for calendars, guides for travel, and symbols of human curiosity. Some planets, like Venus and Jupiter, occasionally appear near one another in breathtaking conjunctions, a subtle cosmic dance visible even to the naked eye. Their relative positions shift over time, an ongoing reminder that the heavens are alive with motion, not fixed. As you gaze at these steady lights tonight, imagine the planets circling their distant star, each with worlds of their own. Some perhaps harboring moons, rings, or hidden oceans beneath icy crusts. Though they seem fixed and familiar from Earth, each is a dynamic, complex world, quietly orbiting in a rhythm millions of kilometers from our own. Planets bring a comforting presence to the night sky, blending stability with gentle motion. They remind us that even amidst the distant galaxies and ancient starlight, there are companions closer to home, steadying points that link us to the solar system's vast choreography. Tonight, as you relax under the canopy of stars, let your eyes linger on these wandering lights. Trace their slow paths, marvel at their steady glow, and imagine the worlds they illuminate, quietly sharing the cosmic stage with every star, comet, and nebula we have explored so far. As our journey through the cosmos draws to a close, imagine the night sky not as a static tapestry, but as a living, breathing. Each star, nebula, planet, and galaxy is a chapter, written in light, spanning millions or even billions of years. The heavens are both archive and performance, holding the past, present, and future in a single view. From the glowing nurseries of nebulae to the swirling arms of spiral galaxies, the universe is alive with motion, birth, and transformation. Stars pulse, shine, and die, leaving elements for new generations. Meteors streak briefly, satellites glide silently, and planets trace their paths along the ecliptic. Even black holes and quasars, distant and unseen, shape the cosmos in ways invisible to our eyes. Time itself stretches and bends across the universe. Light carries messages from the past. What we see tonight may no longer exist, yet its image reaches us across vast distances. Each glance upward is a meditation on scale, endurance, and the connectedness of all things. The night sky also carries human history. Ancient civilizations memorized constellations, followed planetary movements, and watched comets sweep by. They used the stars to navigate oceans and deserts, mark seasons, and weave stories. Tonight, we continue that tradition, connecting imagination with observation, curiosity with understanding, and wonder with knowledge. As you lie quietly under the canopy of stars, let your thoughts drift with the cosmic currents. Picture the Milky Way arching overhead, the faint glow of distant galaxies, the gentle flicker of nebulae, and the steady paths of planets. Imagine meteor showers as tiny sparks, a reminder that even the smallest things can illuminate vast distances. Allow the calm of the universe to settle around you. Each point of light is a whisper of eternity, a reminder of the beauty, mystery, and continuity of creation. Let your breath align with the rhythm of the cosmos, slow, steady, and patient. And as you close your eyes, feel the universe holding you, connecting you to everything that has ever existed and will ever exist. From the faintest star to the brightest galaxy, from the wandering planets to the quiet nebulae, the cosmos is a companion, watching over you as you drift into sleep. Good night, dear listener. The universe is vast, timeless, and endlessly beautiful. Let it carry you gently into dreams, where the stars themselves keep watch. Subscribe to hear more relaxing science stories, and allow the quiet magic of the cosmos to guide you night after night.